If you're a metal roofing installer, growing your business, you're doing good volume, a question we get all the time is, when should I make that leap into manufacturing, fabricating my own trim for my installations? And really the question is, am I gonna make my money back? Is it gonna be a good investment for my business? So in this video, we're gonna look at real world numbers based on job volume to see when it is that right time for your business. Welcome to the Metal Roofing Channel. I'm Thad Barnett. I've got Chad Rowe from Metal Forming. Thanks for being here, Chad.
Hey, good morning, Thad. I'm happy to be here.
So we're gonna talk about breaks and shears, in this video, and kind of when is it the right time to take that leap and spend that money for your business, make that investment. So let's talk about, who should be looking at folders and shears for their business. What's the right type of person?
So generally, when we're talking about these folders and shears, we're gonna be talking about a 10-foot folder and shear combination package. And the people who are most commonly using this equipment is your roofing contractor. Anybody who might be in the agricultural business, they too can benefit from having a 10-foot folder and shear. And then we get into your general roofing, which may include some commercial, may also include some residential. So really, anybody who has a need for metal trim.
Yep. And most of the people watching this video are going to be those standing seam metal roofers, some of the ag panel as well, but then also fabricators, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about today specifically on that roofing section. When is it the right time to make that leap? So talk to me, when should someone be looking at their own break and folder? Because when you hit a certain volume, you could be losing money.
Absolutely, you can. There's a lot to be gained, and there's a lot of benefits to owning your own equipment. So when is that right time? For each individual company, of course, they need to make their own decisions. But the general rules of thumb: if I'm doing $1 million in annual sales volume, I absolutely then am generating enough income to support the payment and the benefit of owning the equipment and getting that return. So starting at that $1 million mark, you absolutely should start looking for that opportunity to purchase the equipment. The other kind of really important factors is, how much time then will I be using the equipment? And I like to talk about, I've got a little thumb rule of 4, 5, 8. So if I'm gonna need to use a piece of equipment for more than 4 hours a day, absolutely, that's a yes. If I need to bend trim 5 days a week, absolutely, that's a yes. If I have 8 hours, but maybe it's only 1 day a week, but I'm gonna bend for 8 hours, that too can allow you to get the benefits of owning your own equipment. So then any combination of the 4, 5, 8 rule, maybe it's, you only have 4 hours a day, but it's 2 or 3 days a week. Yep. So any combination of those really is a time that you should investigate looking into purchasing your own equipment.
Yeah, that makes sense. So thinking from a volume perspective, if I'm a roofer, if I'm doing residential roofs, maybe a roof every other week, for standing seam, and I'm in the shop a day a week, 8 hours bending trim for that next job. It just makes sense, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm paying somebody else to bend it. And then talk to me a little bit about, what are some of the downsides of buying trim from someone else for my job versus making it myself?
That's a great question. So if you have been purchasing your own trim, you know the answers to some of these questions. There's challenges. You are waiting for somebody else to produce your trim. Did they produce the trim package the way that you needed it with all of the same correct dimensions that you submitted?
Yep.
And then probably even the bigger factor is, what do you do when you need 1 or 2 more pieces? You're waiting and you're at the mercy of that other contractor, whoever is forming
someone
that material.
else's lead time.
Yeah, and you can't finish that job because you're waiting on these 1 or 2 pieces of trim.
Yep. Plus, shipping damage happens, and then you're stuck waiting for them again.
Job site damage. There's a lot of factors. And then again, if you've been buying your trim, that's absolutely, you're familiar with all of these challenges.
Yeah. So let's think about, what's that first level of getting into breaks and folders. And we're gonna do a video about the Shecktel Max later on, right? About kind of some of those technical details, but talk to me about, what are the things people should be looking for if they're thinking about getting into fabrication?
Yeah, so there's several different factors when you're looking at this equipment. One is, do I have space? That's probably the most overlooked component to the equipment.
Yeah.
How much space do I need? How much space do you need? Let me answer that question for you. For every customer, it's a little bit different. Talk to your representative. Maybe it's a sales team member that you want to talk to about what is right for your business. Some of the other key factors is the flexibility of that piece of equipment. Can it do all of the products that I want to make today? But even more so, can it make things that I might want to do tomorrow?
Yeah.
And then I think really the third factor is, how easy is it to use? Today's workforce is completely changed. The old skilled workers that are traditional metalhead guys, they're getting out of the industry, and we're bringing in this younger new generation. So technology is really important to them.
Sure.
And is it easy to use?
Yeah, because you're gonna need somebody to run it, right? And so we talk about it on the roll forming side as well, right? You can get the machine, but you need somebody to perform that operation.
Yeah.
So what else did we miss?
I think there's a couple of other benefits to owning the equipment that we haven't quite talked about. Is one, we touched on it a little bit, but you get control of your own jobs. And do you need one piece? Do you need a custom piece? Did somebody measure wrong and now you need that one more piece? So you have total control of your job. You're not relying and waiting on somebody else as to when you can complete your job. For your business owners, there is a minimum of about a 30% margin that you're giving up by not having your own equipment. I've talked with several people in the industry, and those numbers can vary, of course, but generally speaking, 30% margin is very low. That's a safe number.
Yeah.
That's really where you're gonna gain control of your jobs. When does that contractor get paid? Well, when he's finished.
Yep.
So you can get paid faster and earn more money.
Sure. Yeah. One other thing that I'd like to ask about with the machines is, training, service. Those are some other questions that people have about getting into a machine that they didn't have to worry about before.
Absolutely. So with metal forming, we have factory certified service team. We're about 16 people in our service department. So we're happy to come and do an on-site training with you. We're going to install the equipment for you. We're going to go through a little test procedure to make sure the machine operates and does everything that we expect it to do. And then we'll go into the training and we're going to teach your people. So on top of that on-site training, we also offer remote training as well. Of course, today's technology, the systems, the training can be done right at the machine because we're all connected with network and Wi-Fi. So that is available. Machines come with a warranty. Make sure that is clear and that you're getting the best warranty so that you have that peace of mind. Metal forming also offers some service level agreements. What is a service level agreement? Again, you're paying for peace of mind that this piece of equipment that you're spending a lot of money on and you're relying on to be the backbone of your business stays fully operational.
Yep. Awesome. Well, the other aspect is on SheffieldMetals.com, we've got a configurator where you can actually go through and build your own machine and see what those different features, add-ons would look like for your business, as well as the potential monthly payment. And then as Chad mentioned, we could set you up with those service contracts, the training, which, I can't harp on the training enough, right? Especially for new operators. It's money well spent, it's time well spent to make sure that your team knows how to operate the equipment safely and effectively.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, the last thing you want is to spend money on a piece of equipment and not be able to utilize it and really get that full return out of it.
All right, sounds good. Well, stay tuned for the next video. We're going to do an actual walkthrough of this machine right here. But yeah, in the meantime, visit SheffieldMetals.com, check out that configurator, build your own machine. Chad, really appreciate the time.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. Subscribe here to the Metal Roofing channel. As always, I'm Thad Barnett. We'll catch you next time.